Welcome to the BurlyTalk show. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy.
Hey, welcome to BurlyTalk episode 5. So, first off, we want to apologize to everybody. We missed you last week, but we had some stuff going on. We had some pretty cool things happening.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we were. I started a new job. Sean's schedule changed, so we were a little bit limited on time. Sean's wife had a fight, MMA fight, so there was a lot of things that were spreading time a little too thin. But that's not gonna be the case moving forward. We're gonna try to be a lot more consistent and stuff. So, a one-off. So
Yeah, absolutely. So, I guess to start off, let's talk about the big thing, Michelle's first MMA fight.
Yeah.
So
She
Michelle,
won.
yeah, she won. You don't have to wait till the end to find that out.
Yeah.
She had her first amateur MMA bout in Idaho. It was in Fort Hall, Idaho, just outside of Pocatello. So it was pretty neat. We ended up leaving. So it's fall, and Wyoming weather is just unpredictable. But the day we were set to leave, we got a huge. And so what was supposed to be just a 7-hour drive turned into 10-hour drives through like blizzards and whiteout and stuff like
Come forward a little bit more on your mic. There. No, you good. Stop. No, you good. You good. Sorry, people. He was just kind of cutting out there a little bit. So, but basically, yeah, like the weather's kind of shit. I'll say it's shit up here all over the place. Idaho, Montana, Wyoming.
Yeah.
I don't think it was just like it's just this area. We get pretty
Yeah.
bad weather. So
It was. So we ended up getting to Fort Hall, checked into the room. So the fight was at the Shoshone-Bannock Casino in Fort Hall. And the weigh-ins were in Pocatello, which is like 20-minute drive south. But it was, it lined up like perfect. Like we left about 5:30 here in Wyoming, and we pulled into Fort Hall at about 3:15. Michelle was fighting at 125, and so she weighed herself when we got to the hotel. She was 125.8, and I wanted her to get down to at least 124.8, so lose a pound. She ended up being able to drop that extra pound in the sauna, and then we went straight over to weigh-ins. Excuse me. So at weigh-ins, she hit weight just fine. The other gal, I guess she was going through a bad weight cut, is what I was told. She ended up busting weight by 3 pounds. So she weighed in.
It's not a bad weight cut. That's not cutting at all.
Yeah.
3 pounds is insane.
Yeah, so she weighed in at 129 and some change. But, they asked us, they were super cool about it. They asked us, like, hey, are you okay to fight? And my response was, like, we didn't just drive 10 hours, like, to not fight. And Michelle was totally on board with that. She's like, no, I don't care if she weighs 140. Like, we're fighting. So that was good. Just a little bit of, I know I've talked about her on previous podcasts, but just the amount of drive that she has. So she's an independent fighter right now. She doesn't have a gym. We did have a gym. I'm not going to get into it, but essentially she was kind of told, like, you're on your own. We're not affiliated with it anymore. And so she manages herself. And that was like
that was after Michelle has been asking for a fight for an extended period of time, I think, right? How many months was she trying to push for a fight?
No, over a year. So she started reaching out to promoters herself. And then she ended up getting this fight. And then she's actually got a fight. She signed a contract to fight December 8th in Helena, Montana. So now this is going to be her second fight inside of 2 months. So, she's doing all this on her own. She's talking to promoters. She's, making things happen. It's super cool to watch and super cool to, be a part of and be there. And so now we've got, hey, I guess words out. Welcome to the Burly Den.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna be Andrew and myself and his wife Raminta, like we're essentially Michelle's fight team.
Yeah.
You know, we're here to get her prepped and, you know, corner her and that kind of thing. And it's super cool experience. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of backstory on like what she's doing and how she came about this.
Mm-hmm. No, and it's exciting, you know, even like being on the corner side, like, you know, it's cool to see, you know, not only like your best friend's wife like go into that, but anybody really, and just be a part of like trying to at least help her is it's cool, you know, it's exciting. And you know, because she's definitely got that thing about a fighter, I think, you know. And we'll go over the video in a little bit here, but and you guys are gonna see. I mean, she's definitely got it in her to be a fighter. So, no, it's cool. It's exciting. So
yeah, so after weigh-ins, you know, that's the day before, and then on Friday we had the fight, and so what we were doing was just making sure that she was good. She was rested. Raminta did her hair, got her hair into rows, and we're just making sure she's hydrated, recouping from her weight cut, because she ended up dropping. She walks around at like 130, so she did about a 5-pound cut. It wasn't too terrible on her. I mean, definitely she was feeling it. You know, it was her first. She had done some cuts, like practice cuts in the past, but this was her first one where she like actually absolutely needed to hit it. She did phenomenal.
I mean, especially for like a first fight, because you'll see like amateur fighters, they come in and they'll be, you know, a couple pounds over or under, and that's like a commonplace thing. But she came in right at the money. You know, honestly, like a little bit too light, but it's better to be like a half pound under than, you know, 2 pounds under,
3 pounds over,
or 3 pounds over. Which again, I said that remark there, people, but it's true. Like you come in 3 pounds over, that's not cutting. Like I don't care what you say. Like, that's pretty heavy, and you know.
Well, and it wasn't a short notice thing. Like,
yeah.
You know, this fight was. It wasn't like the other gal got called. You know, she
3
was,
days out.
Yeah, 3 days out. You know, this was. I want to say like the contract had been signed for like 5 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is as far as I understood, and we're not trying to bad talk this girl or anything like that. To keep that in mind. But there is like a sense of it's like a sense of professionalism when you're going to this. Yeah, they're amateurs, but you still need to make sure if you're gonna be a fighter, you need to be within that window, right, year round, because you know fights like these, if you're trying to become a fighter, you're trying to get into pro cards, things like that, you need to be ready, you know, especially for these call-in fights. If it was a call-in fight, you know, like, you know, Michelle, I think if she had a call-in fight 2 weeks from now, she'd be ready to go.
Yeah, well, and I know where you're going with that. It shows reliability. Like the promoter can call you and he knows that you're going to show up and you're going to be, you know, on weight. Because essentially what happened, they had to ask like, hey, are we still good to fight? Because if we had said no, you know, that fight gets scratched, and that's that much shorter. You know, the fight card that's equals less money for the promoter, you know, that kind of thing.
So. Well, it's not that good of a show too. People want to come and watch a show. That's what it is. You know, they're gladiators and they're putting on a show. So, you know, if you don't get that money's worth, people aren't going to come out again, you know, and then that league dies and then you don't have fights. Right. So yeah, there is a sense of professionalism, even at the amateur level, that I think needs to be, you know, brought up there. And don't get me wrong, people, I know it's not easy. Like shit. Yeah. Look at me, and I'm a heavier side boy, so I get it. You know,
well, that's the thing. Like my fat ass sitting in there fighting. So like, hats off to the other girl for doing it. But you know, there's theory behind it. Like you want to show that reliability, and we were actually pretty worried that the commission was just going to call the fight off because it was a 3-pound discrepancy.
You've seen it at the highest level, the pro levels. If it's a pound over, they'll call the fight.
Or like a pro level, like they'll have to forfeit like 30% of their purse, which amateurs, like she doesn't get paid. You don't get paid as an amateur fighter. But we were concerned that with that weight discrepancy, the commission was just going to be like, no, this fight just isn't happening.
Right.
Which it was super cool. So essentially it was at a Native American casino, and it was sanctioned through the New York State Athletic Commission. So they actually flew in a dude from the New York State Athletic Commission to
Check the ring and all that
yeah,
stuff, right? Yeah.
to sanction the fight in
Yeah.
Idaho.
You do the whole put some holy water on it or something. I don't know
Yeah.
what they do, but it's pretty cool. And it was a fun event, man. I think they did it up right. I think the Mountain MMA does a pretty good job. Of, doing the bells and whistles and making it fun. It was entertaining across the board from start to finish. I don't think there was really any lulls or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's a good show.
And I guess just quick disclaimer to get it out of the way. When we show the fight clip, like it's owned by Mountain Force MMA. Like they have a live stream for the fight, but now it's a pay-per-view. If you go on their website, you can purchase the full fight. We're just going to show a short clip.
No, there'll be a link down in the description too. I'll put it in there. And that way you guys can go, and if you want to watch the full fight from start to finish, you'll get to see everything. And there was a couple knockouts. I think it's worth to watch for sure if you're into MMA and things like that. So
it was good. It was exciting. It was. So let's just get into it. Like, first off, Andrew and I were Michelle's corners because she doesn't have a coach anymore. So I've been trying to kind of fill that role. Understand that I'm not a previous fighter, anything like that. I've always loved MMA. I'm not some like fighting guru or anything like that. But when your loved one gets put in the position, and understand where we are, there's not options for Michelle to go, oh, she's no longer with this gym. She just walks across the street and there's another MMA gym.
We don't have camps out here and things like that.
We have such a low population density, and like the nearest MMA gym that she could go to would be up in Billings, and that's a 2-hour drive away. And it's just not feasible. It's not feasible. Maybe if she was single, she could have an apartment up there on her days off. She could live up there, up there and train out of there. But when you're married and you have 2 kids and
she's working too.
Yeah, she works 2 jobs.
Yeah. Well, then that's the thing too. Another thing, there is that possibility down the road. I think, when we talk about if she's really gonna push the envelope with the MMA and try to get into like the pro, try to get a pro status and stuff, like, maybe push her to go to get some training at one of these like higher end gyms. But
yeah, well, that's what I was telling her actually last night. It's funny you bring that up. Like, get to the point where, even if she's still fighting amateur, I think that she should take a week. So she gets summers off. So, cause she works for a school, so she gets paid, in the summer. She could pick a gym, doesn't matter where it is in the US, for a week, rent out an Airbnb. She flies there. If she's spending 8 hours in that gym, like whether she wants to go to Vegas or anything like that, link up with a gym.
Sacramento too, like one of the fucking many California gyms. So
purchase like a week, whatever that is, to go down there and train, and that's all she does. She focuses on her diet. She focuses on just going and treat that as like a fight camp and get some good training in. But like that's what I wanted to touch on. Like when your loved one gets put in a position like that, I have no other option but to step up and try and fill those voids and, hold mitts, hold, work striking sticks, that kind of thing, grapple. You just got to do the best you can out here. And so, that's what I'm saying. If you're out there and you're trying to let something hold you back because you're not an expert in it, like don't. Just do the damn thing. I mean, we got the internet now. I'm not saying that that's the end all be all, but you can look up a video. Like I have to look up videos. Okay, how to work striking sticks because I've never done it. And it's like, but I can be there for her to drill, and just do the best that I can.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think that's a big thing. There's just try to help her out. And I mean, I've never cornered before, and you never cornered. That's like even a learning thing on its own. Wrapping hands. I have a good video. We'll have to post that on the thing. We'll post a video about it, but there's like it's serious. And Sean's one of those people that I'll say, hats off to Sean. He's one of those guys that if he wants to help somebody out, or if he wants to do something, like, and especially if obviously it's his wife we're talking about here. Like he takes it so serious and almost like too serious. And he's like one of those people that are like, He's like his own worst enemy, like his worst critic.
Yeah,
You know, he's
dude,
just
100%.
like it has to be.
Gotta be perfect.
And it's funny too, because like if you guys get to know Sean, he's one of those people that the dude's pretty solid all around a lot of things, but he'll just like doubt himself for some fucking reason. Yeah, but it's true, and everybody knows it. And it's like, dude, like you're doing good, man. Like relax, you know.
Yeah. It's just it gets to me because, you know, you want to do right by the people you care about, like not even your spouse. Like if I told you that I was going to come like help you with something and
Yeah.
I fell short in some way, I feel like I'm just totally letting you down and I'm a piece of shit. It could be something totally inconsequential to life as a whole.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, I was going to go help him move this couch, but I
Yeah.
didn't make it. And it's like, no, I'm going to be there and I'm going to be there early. I don't know.
No, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I just figured I'd mention that just because it's, you know, it's funny to see you razzled every once in a while because usually you're pretty fucking stoic and on point. So seeing you razzled in that moment a little bit was kind of funny. It was entertaining, I think, for everybody except you. But
well, that was the thing is like I know I have to wrap her hands, and
Yeah.
I've only tried it like one other time.
but
And
you crushed it though. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Like clearly she
I
went
was-
up there. Yeah.
yeah, I was freaking out because you have to get them signed off by the commission that
Yeah.
their hands look good, and so if their hand wraps aren't good, they can't put gloves on, they can't do pad work, and so it's like you're just holding everything up. So I didn't, even though it's not a small part, you know, but it's also not the biggest part of the process. I didn't want to hold that up. So I was freaking out a little bit. I was like, God, if I don't get these hand wraps right, I'm going to look like an idiot. And then
Yeah.
I'm just causing her added stress thinking that, you know, it's going to prolong her process of getting in the ring.
Well, in that process too, it's different, man. You know, until you're back there behind the curtains, literally, for us at this point, you know, it's a different process seeing how things go, and you know, there's not like, you know, this isn't like UFC, right? There's not just like a dedicated locker room where,
Yeah.
and with a full gym where she can just do her own thing and get in her own head, and things like that. You know, it's you're in there with like, you know, 6 other fighters, and their teams, their coaches, their corners, their people.
Yeah.
This tight little area. There's a lot of noise, a lot of stress, you know, and a lot
You
of
don't-
energy.
Yeah. And you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was our first time doing it. And we're like, what?
Yeah. Hey, when did she go up? Like, when did you, right? You
I don't know what
didn't
to
even
do. Like, when do we put ice in the bucket?
Yeah.
You know?
There's a lot of things that go into it, which is, for me, it's exciting. I know exciting for all of us, I think, but honestly, I think it's cool because, you know, you get to challenge yourself a little bit. And I think, you know, like Sean was mentioning, you know, Michelle's going free agent, but it's like I think we're all kind of like trying to step in and help where we can. Like my wife, she did a little bit of boxing for Lithuania, and so she's gonna start helping on some of that stuff. And I did a little bit of boxing, but this is like a little older now, so this is, you know, 15 years ago, and you know, we're just gonna try. And like I said, we'll show the video, and you guys are gonna see like, you know, she's solid, I think, already. You know, for the most part, it's just little adjustments, you know. And
Well, that's the thing, to touch on what you just said. Like, you cover down for family, and like you and Ramita are family.
Yeah.
Is the thing. And so like if you guys had something going on like this, like we would be there. And like I just want to say thank you for how much you guys are there for us on this. You know,
Of course, man. I would not miss it for. I think I've been making the joke like I'm more excited, I think, than Michelle.
Yeah.
Because it's cool, man. Like, you know, I love you guys, so it's like when I see you guys like serious about this, and I get that energy there, and I wanna help. You know, I want to see it fruition to something bigger.
Yeah.
It's chasing dreams. Like, I don't know. I think that's one of those things. Like, you get so wrapped up in your everyday, and I think people are scared to take that risk, like you mentioned earlier. And it's like, you don't need to be an expert. Just try. And I mean, look at this podcast. You know, I know we're not blowing up yet, but it's like, no, we're trying. You know, and
don't wait on other people to make it happen for you. That's my biggest takeaway on this. Like, she can't wait for other people to make it happen for her, so she's making it happen for herself. And so that's where I'm like, I need to be there for her on that. And just kind of like talking about the gym here, like we're kind of wanting to get more into the strongman functional type workouts, that kind of thing. There's nothing around here like that.
Yeah.
And if there's nothing around here like that, it's up to us to make it.
Yeah.
Make it. And so I'd like to eventually do that. Like, we got a lot of room in the shop.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually have enough equipment in there to where I can start having people, if somebody else is in my boat, I can't just go, this isn't Sacramento. Like, there's not 5 strongman gyms within 6 miles.
And there's a lot. There's a lot within like a 30-mile radius, at least where I grew up in the Inland Empire. Because I remember looking back into this when I was doing like powerlifting and stuff. There's a lot of gyms. You have a lot of options, and different flavors. You got all the swatches. You can try this one out, try that one out. But yeah, you're right. It's like there's not out here, so you have to kind of try to make it your own.
Yeah,
and maybe somebody else will like it. Because I guarantee there's other people out here, especially like, I don't know. There's people who are into heavy lifting out here, and even MMA. Like, but there's just not the options because I don't think it hasn't been done yet. Not to the point that we're talking here. So
yeah, it got off on a little tangent there, but so when it came to the actual fight, the walkout, it was awesome. So we're 7 hours from home in a totally different state. We don't know anybody in Pocatello, except Michelle knows, like, one of her high school friends lives in southern Idaho, so she came up to the fight. But the amount of people that from around here that actually went to the fight or bought the pay-per-view to watch her fight, it was crazy to see this little micro community of like people that we know come out to support her. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that did. Like, that was super awesome. And she starts walking out, and a good portion of the crowd, like, it surprised me. I expected us to, like, because she was fighting a local, I expected us to either get booed or there just be like silence, or I don't know.
I would say booze, but I was definitely expecting silence. I'll say that. Yeah.
Like, I didn't know what to expect. And then we start walking out, and like a big portion of the crowd started cheering, and like,
well, and it's daunting, and I'll give it that to Michelle too. She did not, again, if you guys want to watch the whole thing, you'll see this too on Mountain Force MMA. But I know, because I was watching the screen as we were walking out. So we were to the corners, we were walking behind Michelle, and I could see on the screen, like, Michelle's just like dialed in, right?
Yeah.
But when you see those people, like, you have these bright lights on you, have a room full of like maybe a couple hundred people staring at you, right? And it's a lot of pressure. I was a corner guy, and I was like, damn, okay, like, gotta make sure I'm walking right.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not getting in that ring. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of pressure there. Especially for a first-time fighter fighting somebody who was, this girl had five fights.
So she was 0-5.
But she had experience. Is my point.
She had experience. She had been in the ring, and so I mean, she knew what to expect. We were just like fresh in, didn't know what to expect, and it was so awesome. It was awesome, and it was crazy how like dialed in Michelle was, and then when you and I got to our corner position, so they gave us very like strict rules. Like, as a cornerman, you will sit down in this chair. You will not touch the ring. You will not.
Sean's really animated people, all right?
You will not stand up.
It's hard for him to just sit like that.
Yeah, especially in a situation like that. Like, I want to stand up. I'm not saying I would have been hanging on the cage and stuff, but at least let me stand up. Like, I don't want to sit down like a little schoolboy on my hands or anything like that. Like, I gotta.
Yeah. But it makes sense. You don't want. You don't want that somebody, like you said, hanging on the cage, things like that. Yeah. And there has been like events where people like coaches will go crazy or something,
Yeah. But it was crazy how like dialed in everything got, and then all of a sudden it's happening. Yeah. And they came out, exchanged some shots, and then I could see this switch flip with my wife that she got like mad.
I call it, she went berserk, dude.
Yeah.
She went straight up berserk, yeah.
She got hit in the face and immediately got angry. And like, she didn't get hit in the face and then, rock back from the punches and be like, oh God, I just got hit in the face. She's like, I'm going to grab a hold of you and you're going to pay for hitting me in the face. And like, you're not going to like it.
Well, then that's the thing what you just mentioned right now. That's, I think, was, you got to realize too, people, it's like, you're gonna have two options, right? It's a fight or flight kind of thing,
Yeah.
and it's a natural thing. It's true. You're either gonna get in that ring and you're gonna get hit and you're gonna freeze and you're gonna dump all your knowledge. And we seen that. We seen that night. There was a couple amateur fighters that froze up. And again, there's nothing taken away from them. They're doing more than I'm doing. You know, they're actually getting in that ring. They're doing more than a lot of people do. So hats off to them for even getting in. But there is that risk. You know, maybe you'll freeze up. And you know, on the veteran side of thing, you talk about that with like war and stuff. Like, you know, are you going to be that guy that freezes up in battle or not? Like, everybody's different. So, you know, it was cool to see her go berserk. You know, she just like turned on like it was an instant, like you said. There was no like. She's just like, I'm gonna hurt this person because you just hit me.
Yeah, and that's the thing. She has no ill will to like her opponent. Like I don't even know that they really said anything to each other before the fight.
Yeah.
But it was, you know, it's a fight.
Mhm.
Like you're going in there and this person's trying to hurt you, and she's like, no, hell no.
And Michelle's a sweetheart. I don't know if you guys will get to know her. We'll bring her on at some point, but she's really nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And I to be honest, that was what kind of threw me off too when, you know, this all started. Like, oh, like she's gonna get into, like she wants to fight, and I was like, what? Like not like doubting, but I was like, no, whoa, like that's crazy, you know? Because she's really nice. So it's just unexpected, you know.
Yeah. So the cliff notes, she ended up pressing the gal up against the cage. So she went into some grappling. The gal tried to reverse position and kind of try and do a takedown, kind of, excuse me, trap one of Michelle's legs. Michelle reversed it, ended up taking the gal down, and then she got in full mount, ended up flattening the gal out and doing some body shots to the ribs. And I remember, so before the fight started, I said, if you take her down in our corner. Try and get her to our corner. That way you're in front of me. I can give you, you know, commands, that kind of thing, coach you through it. So she took her down like right in front of Andrew and I.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was perfect.
And then she started in with the body shots, and the sound of the body shots connecting, it was sick, the amount of power she was able to generate in that short range of motion.
Yeah, like 8 inches of motion, or 8 inches of range is what she had.
Yeah.
You know, he locked it in like right there, and
yeah,
it's like like hitting a slab of meat, you know, with with a hammer.
it was insane. And so she ended up getting some ground and pound in. She ended up doing some face shots, in which, you know, at which point her opponent took her arm. Like the opponent took the opponent's arm, put it over her face to kind of cover up from any more shots to the face. And then Michelle ended up getting kind of a head and arm triangle. You know, it was ruled shoulder choke, but from where I was sitting, like it was almost like she was tapping to strikes. She was still able to talk, and she was like saying tap, because she really didn't have use of her hands.
She couldn't tap.
She couldn't tap because Michelle was smothering her.
She was like her hand was in the air, and like she couldn't actually like tap Michelle. Her hand was just like this, saying tap.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was great. I mean, she executed her game plan. She wanted to go in. She's more of a grappler. She wanted to go in, take the gal down, get in some ground and pound, get a submission in the first round, and she ended up putting it all together. I remember it was almost like second nature. That's why I can tell that I'm really going to like this. Of course it matters that I don't have experience coaching. Of course it matters that I'm not, you know, some black belt in jiu-jitsu, or I'm not some, you know, Muay Thai expert, anything like that.
Yeah.
But you know what to say to put positive reinforcement in, let's say, just not even my wife's mind, but my fighter's mind as a corner. When she started to, you know, execute her ground and pound, I could tell that her opponent was wanting to shift her hips and shrimp out of it and try and get out of that mount position. And so I'm able to yell at Michelle. So
some explicits.
yeah. So I'm screaming, and you can't hear it on the pay-per-view. I was kind of hoping you could. I could hear the opponent's corner yelling for her to shrimp.
Yeah.
Yelling for the opponent to shrimp. And I'm screaming at Michelle, who's like right in front of me.
Talking like 3 feet, people 4 feet.
Yeah. Do not let her effing shrimp. And I'm screaming this at my wife. So I'm essentially like any other place, like put this in a bar setting, I'm an accessory to a crime. But like it's a sanctioned MMA fight, and I just found it neat how quickly I fell into that groove of able to give her feedback on things that I'm seeing.
And I think the key there too, another hats off, I think, to Michelle's, she was receptive of that. And you know, we had a post fight like talk, obviously, and she heard the directions.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing, is obviously it makes a difference, because you know, that's part of the coaching, it's part of being corners. You need to watch what she can't see, you know, and that you, like you said, you're able to see her hips. She was trying to adjust her hips and try to move that right hip up so she can get out of the submission, or get out of the guard, full guard that Michelle had on her, right? Because or top mount.
Yeah, full mount.
Full mount. So she was full mount on this girl, and she was trying to shift her hips, and you're able to see that.
Yeah.
Michelle might be able to feel it maybe, but with the excitement, lights, like the noise, you know, there's things that she's gonna miss as a fighter, and any fighter. So, like you said, it's cool, like, you know, to see that, and then, you know, it was reactive. You knew, okay, this is what she needs to do, and that's like a thing too. Is like a lot of, for me, at least like our styles, like I'm not gonna like be yelling a lot of direction. I'm gonna tell Sean like what I see, and then Sean's gonna yell that, you know, because I don't ever want Michelle to be overwhelmed. You know, it's already enough.
So it's one voice, you know, so like it's, she's hearing one person giving commands instead of 2 people. And that's when it can get confusing, is when you've got 2 different people yelling at you 2 different things and you don't know what to do. And so, whereas you can be there for me and see stuff that I'm not seeing and relay that to me, and I can relay that to her.
Yeah. And I think that makes more sense moving forward. Cause, you know, that's like what we're trying to do, you know, now is, like, obviously I'm going to help where I can, but a lot of it's going to be, you know, just trying to make sure that whatever Michelle's doing, like, she's in the right headspace for it, and we're not like convoluting or muddying the water with like a lot of like accessory stuff.
Well, that's the thing. You're also like a key component in keeping me in check. Like, let's just.
I thought I was gonna have to like hold them back a little bit.
Yeah, let's just like be out there with that.
Yeah.
So.
It's cool though, man. I think it's such like a, I don't know, for all of us involved, like we're all excited. Like even for Ramita, I know she's like super jazzed about it. Like, you know, she gets to you know, do the rose braid up her hair and help her out with the striking here and there, and you know, like you said, it's a team thing, and we're all kind of huddled around Michelle, but you know, we're all in it for her, you know. And I think it's cool. Like we can say we're a part of that, and
that's the thing. Everybody has a part. Everybody has a place in like making this work.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what's really neat.
Yeah.
I'm super stoked about it. And I know everybody has a story. Everybody has their origin story, you know, this is just a really neat one and a really personal one for all of us, because she doesn't want to just do this as like, oh, I wanted to have one MMA fight in my life and check that box. Like, she wants to take this as far as she can physically take it. And that's all there was to it. Is like, she wasn't getting a fight, so she had to take it upon herself to start calling promoters and everything, because she's not 21. She doesn't have those years to kind of cruise out and play with. If she's going to make this happen, she has to make it happen right now.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to be along for the ride, that's fine. But like,
don't hold her back.
Yeah, don't hold her back. Don't
And clearly she's ready.
You know?
I think she's more than ready, man. It's like you see it in the fight, and you see hear her talk about it. Like, so clearly she wants it, like. And I think for a lot of people that could be it. That could be enough. Like, just if you want it, try it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you'll see it too, like in MMA, like history and UFC and stuff. Like, there's been fighters who come in later in the game and they do well. They do amazing. There's people that have been, upwards of 38, 40 years old and still like bringing in belts and big fights, main events and stuff. So, not saying Michelle's 40 years old, all right? Don't put that up.
She's not. She's gonna beat your ass.
I know. Literally, yeah, just mess me up. We saw it, so.
But it is like you see a lot of people start their fight career at 17, 18.
Yeah, 19.
And,
yeah.
And so whereas she's in her early 30s, it's not as common, but she has got that dog in her. Like, she wants to do this, and so being there to support her and being along for the ride, I mean, it's too awesome. How can you not want to be there? There's so many people in this world that just sit on the couch. They just sit on the couch and they watch life go by and understand I've been that person at times in my life.
Yeah, we both have, I think. And I think everybody's been there for the most part. You could talk to like the biggest hustlers in the game.
Yeah.
Like, sorry. But everybody's kind of hits that window or hits that little spot where you kind of have to get a reality check almost,
Yeah, life is just so much better when you're moving forward. And it doesn't always have to be for you. That's my biggest thing. It doesn't always have to be for me.
Yeah.
I can have just as much gratification watching my wife flourish or watching you flourish or me to flourish.
That's what I'm saying too. It's like, I don't know, man. If she's winning, I feel like we're all winning because it's cool.
100%. Like I was on such a high when she won.
Yeah. Well, it was funny too. So I think the whole arena, I think, was in shock cause it was quiet. Like when she won, the girl tapped, right?
Yeah.
And it went silent. I remember I didn't know how to react. I was like, and I feel like nobody did.
Yeah.
Like it was like,
it's over.
Wait,
like,
yeah. Like it happened. Yeah, and like that was a weird feeling. Like she just won. And I was like trying to piece it in my head, like, oh my God, okay, yeah, she just won her first fight, Then everybody I think clicked on and started cheering and stuff. But it was just like a cool feeling, like you said, as a high almost, like this is awesome,
Yeah, and we sat there the rest of the fight card, and you and I talked, and it's like, how far can we take this?
Yeah.
How. Okay, this is how we're going to improve the next time. This is what we're going to do. I need to buy this, and this to make sure that we're more prepared.
Yeah.
We need to start doing X, Y, and Z in preparation for the upcoming fight or the next fight. We didn't know that she was going to get one so quick, right after that. But now we know December 8th. Yeah, December 8th. Save the date. If you're around Helena, you willing to make that drive or buy the pay-per-view?
Yeah, we'll post
it.
That. Yeah,
we'll post it on socials. Be there, and it's gonna be great.
Yeah, and then this time around we'll get. This last fight was a little bit of learning experience, obviously, like we're saying. So this time around, we're gonna make sure to bring like cameras and start actually getting like more, like our view on things, so that way you guys can see it. And we'll post that to the YouTube and stuff, and. That way you guys are there too. We want to make it, I think, for everything. We're obviously not going to show too much on training, but we want to make sure that, you guys get to see that. And if that's something that everybody's interested in, I think if you're not, like, I don't know, it's kind of crazy. You're missing out for sure. Because anything MMA, I think, is exciting.
Well, and it has that stigma of like, oh, it's, just barbaric or whatever. Like they take care of the fighters. There was a doctor, there was a physician ringside. As soon as Michelle stepped out, she had to sit down with a physician. The physician asked her questions, how she's feeling. She, he checks her out, that kind of thing.
He looked at her, like he checked her ears. He looked at everything. He's making sure that there's no head, brain damage, things like that. There's science people. Those doctors know what they're. We got a little bit of training on that in the military. There's signs that you can look for if there's any sort of TBIs and things like that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's important that people know this isn't like backyard brawls or anything like that. Like Mountain Force MMA put on an awesome show and made sure that the fighters felt comfortable and that they were taken care of.
Yeah.
And so it was just really neat to see. It's not what you think if you don't watch MMA. It's not just this absolute bloodbath. It was very, very well orchestrated. And
there was some wars though. I'll say that there was.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But
there's that one
at the end of
man.
the day, it's still fighting, but it was a very professional setting, is what I'm getting at.
It was definitely professional. They had plenty of officials, like security and stuff. And everybody had to stick to the rules. Like, there's little things like Michelle couldn't use the restroom after she gloved up, or she had her hand wraps like by herself. Right?
Yeah, she had to be escorted just to make sure that nothing's getting slipped into the hand wraps or nothing's getting altered, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so they take it serious, and I think that shows. That goes back to the sense of professionalism. If you're gonna get into this, I think you need to. I don't think it's one of those things you can kind of go in half cocked. Like, you have to kind of be in. I think for the most part, every fighter there was essentially like all in. I mean, we talked to some of those fighters back in the training area and stuff, or the prep area. Everybody was just like ready. I feel like there was a lot of, you could feel it in that room. There's a lot of energy, man. And
they're there to do the damn thing.
Yeah. There's like just testosterone in the air, and you're just like, you feel that energy because you're like, there's some hitters in here, man.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing I want to touch on. Like, big shout out to his gym's Phantom. Phantom MMA or Phantom Fight Club out of Pocatello. The coach, Max Riddle, he did me a solid. So we thought that there was going to be a cut man there to grease the fighters' faces, that kind of thing, which you have to have Vaseline. The reason behind that, if you don't know, it's that way the gloves don't catch on dry skin, and it would make her more susceptible to cuts.
Like essentially maimed.
Yeah. So you grease like cheekbones, the eyebrows, nose. You can do the lips. I didn't have any Vaseline. Like, I went up and I had no idea what was about to happen. Like, the fight card was just starting. And
there was a sense of panic.
Yeah, when we found this out. And so I had no idea that this guy in his gym had just lost somebody that was a part of their gym. He had passed, and they were getting ready to do like a memorial thing for him in the ring. And
which was cool. It was really cool.
It was, but I had no idea that this was about to happen. And I just walk up to this guy like 2 seconds before he gets ready to go out to the ring and do this memorial for, his loved one. And I asked him, like, hey man, just got kind of blindsided by this. I don't have any Vaseline. Like, what do I do? I've never, greased somebody's face. I've never even cornered them. He put aside what he was getting ready to do to like reassure me and say, I'll be up there to grease your face. Like, don't worry about it. That kind of thing. And I had never met this guy. I literally walked up. Hi, I'm Sean. I'm Michelle Alquist's husband. He
had like 4 fighters. He had 4 or 5 fighters, people. So he had the memorial. He had 4 or 5 fighters fighting that night. So he had he was wrapping hands left and right backstage, and there's a lot going on. So he dropped that all. I think all that, like you said, just to kind of
to like reassure me, and like I guess what I want to say, in a situation where this man who's never met me before, he doesn't owe me anything. He gave me his time when he's clearly got some emotions going on. He's getting ready to go up and memorialize his friend and his student. And in a time where somebody could have just totally blown me off or told me to pound sand, that kind of thing, he switched gears and he was supportive, and he actually gave a shit. And Michelle went up there, he greased her face, he reassured her as he's walking away. He reassured me after the fight, told me good job, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like he was right there, dapped us up, and said, "Hey, props to Michelle and everything." Michelle was like in the zone, so I think she missed it, but it was just cool that he was willing to do that. So Max Riddle, right?
Yeah, Max Riddle, I believe is his name.
It'd be kind of cool if we can do this, but we'll try to reach out to him or something.
Yeah. So if you're curious, his gym is Phantom MMA and Fitness.
There you go.
In Pocatello.
So
sorry if I botched it. I remembered it was Phantom, but I didn't know if it was Phantom MMA or Phantom Fight Club. But it's
Yeah.
Phantom MMA and Fitness. Just I don't know if he's gonna listen to this, but big shout out to him. Like it just goes to show you kind of that culture. He didn't owe us anything. He didn't know us, and in a situation where he could have been like, this dude's coming up to me right before I go up into this ring and, essentially remember a hardship that has befell my community.
Yeah.
He set that aside and he treated me like a human. So if you think that the fight game is just full of people that just are assholes and want to beat the shit out of people, like that's not my exposure to it.
Well, you've seen it with his team. I think, a lot of those fighters, they seemed like they were
professional.
Professional. Yeah. Everybody was there. Like, I mean, they were in the zone. They were dialed in.
They were there to play.
And honestly, like, now that we're doing this coaching and cornering thing for Michelle, and we're essentially Team Burly, right?
Yeah,
basically. But we're trying to, I don't know, like you see somebody like that, it's definitely something, somebody to look up to, and getting into these kind of boots, and trying to walk and learn this stuff. It's clearly this guy, Max really knows what he's doing. That Team Phantom, like they're about it, and there's definitely some things we could probably learn. You know? So.
Well, you think about it this way, like the tide raises all ships. Like, why wouldn't you want your community to grow and flourish? And I don't know. I would imagine that's the standpoint that he's taken.
Yeah.
In, because I felt like I was like, God, I'm just this totally like underprepared guy. And like, I don't know.
I think we all felt that way.
Yeah.
Like
I think it's inevitable. It's inevitable. Like you're not going to go into something new feeling like you know everything or you got everything totally covered.
Right.
Definitely going to be more prepared as far as cornering and wrapping hands and that kind of thing. I mean, right away I ordered whatever I needed off of Amazon. I was like, I'm never going to be caught in this position again. Yeah.
That's another cool thing too. I'll say this, like, I don't know if you want to get into it, like, it's pretty cool that, so Michelle did get sponsors, kind of short notice, but it was cool that they, were able to kind of put some stuff together, and, we got shirts and, got a essentially brand going now for Michelle, and working on it. It's a work in progress, but.
So we're actually, about the time this airs, like she's got a write up, so she's going to ask for some more sponsors. Because you don't get paid as an amateur fighter. So we have expenses, as far as traveling. You've got to travel to different states. Travel's the big thing out here. Yeah, travel, her diet, all of her supplements. That's all on us. And so we are going to be looking for people that want to sponsor or donate, help her along this journey, that kind of thing, because we are very far from like rich.
Yeah.
But we want to keep doing this because it's fulfilling. It's not a monetary thing.
Yeah. So with that though, I could always edit it in. See how that works. If that worked out better, then if not, then I'll just put it in when you got it.
Dude, you don't have to yell at me.
But it's cool. It's cool. I want to watch that video a couple more times. That was the first time I seen the video. Like that, so. Or second time. So I want to watch it a little bit.
That was awesome.
Man, it's cool. It's an awesome experience, and as we said a couple times, don't be afraid to try things, people. Out there, try it. You got a dream, push it, see what happens. I mean, the worst thing that could happen, I think nowadays is you lose some time or whatever, but you're losing time every day, you know, by not doing something. So
support the people that you care about, lift others up, and just be a solid dude.
Yeah. Whether
you're a girl dude or a guy dude or whatever the cool thing is nowadays.
Dudes being dudes, man.
Dudes being dudes.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe that takes us to the end of the show here, but just I want to say again, sorry we missed you guys last week. It's not going to be the constant. We're just going some scheduled shifts and things like that, and we're gonna start hitting it.
I switched to nights, so I work nights and weekends now, so that kind of threw a wrench in it. By the way, daylight savings.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah. Aren't they trying to stop it? There was like a big thing they were trying to stop it.
Like it's unneeded now.
Yeah.
It's super unneeded because I got to work at 6 p.m. yesterday, and I had no idea about daylight savings being yesterday. Well, today.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, enjoy your 13-hour shift. It's like, oh, my. So, yeah, it turned 2 a.m. twice.
Yeah.
So I came home, got about 3.5 hours sleep, and then woke up and did this podcast. So if I'm a little clumsy with some of my words or look like I'm hating it right now.
Tell him he looks pretty, people, all right? That way he doesn't get too sensitive.
I need it. I need those affirmations.
No, but yeah, so it won't be a constant, people. We're going to be sticking with the grind. So if you like what you guys are hearing, let us know. If you don't, let us know as well. Hit the comments. It helps. We've been reading the comments and we're trying to reply as much as we can. My schedule changed. I'm working a new job, so it's just different times for us. So,
yeah.
But yeah, leave the comments, likes, subscribe. It all helps. And we're on Spotify. So if you don't want to watch the videos, you guys can listen over there. I'm looking into getting us on iTunes. Yeah. Totally forgot about iTunes. We're not Apple people. Not hating, kind of hating, but
yeah,
we're gonna try to get onto iTunes, and if that's your flavor. So like, share, subscribe, and thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, if you've got ideas for episodes or anything that you want to see or hear, if you want to get our take on something, just let us know. Either hit us up with a DM or leave a comment. Really appreciate the support that we've been getting. We're not going anywhere. That's the thing. We want to keep doing this. We want to grow our brand and continue to move forward. So let us know what you think, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.